March 16th meeting of the Mount Vernon Board of Education to order. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Trustee Saunders. Here. Trustee Nying. Trustee Fearon. Here. Trustee Jaros. Here. Trustee McDowell.
Present.
Trustee Miller.
Here.
Trustee White.
Present.
Trustee McOwen. Trustee Zamore. We have a quorum.
Before we go into executive session, we have a student presentation. I'd like to ask the board if we could operate a little out of our ordinary order, so that we could have our students present, and then they would be permitted to leave if they so chose to do so. So we have our students from the mobile app competition here this evening and their advisors. So if you could set us up, we'd appreciate it, sir.
Pace University and the County of Westchester, this is the second year they're sponsoring a Westchester Smart Mobile App Board goal. And where do I point it?
Is it on the right-hand side? There's a green.
There we go.
Students from across.
Oh, too fast. All right. Let me see. There we go.
Could you tell us who you are before you just start?
There we go. All right. The second annual Westchester App Contest. Last year we had 2 teams from Mount Vernon in the first contest with 10 students participating. This year we have 6 teams with 31 students participating. The focus of this year's follows similarly to last year's. This year we're focused on mobile apps for an aging population. In particular, what they want is the goal of the program is for, currently I believe there are 27 high schools and 4 universities participating in it, and they're all developing applications to support the elderly and in various unmet needs. Last year's contest was focused particularly on Alzheimer's, and there was a quick summary of it from FiOS 1.
I've spent the last 2 months working on phone apps for a county-wide competition. Now today they got to show off their masterpieces. FiOS 1's Lindsay Christian has more.
For the past 2 months, students have been working to develop a mobile app for patients with Alzheimer's and dementia. It's part of the Westchester Smart Contest. Michaela Bell is the leader of the MV Mobile Knights team from Mount Vernon High School. It's one of 30 teams across Westchester County vying for the grand prize in the Westchester Smart Mobile App Development Bowl hosted at Pace University.
We created an application that would help not only the caregiver but also the patient. The caregiver would be able to implement information that the patient would be able to see.
Their mission was to create an app that will provide calming activities for patients with Alzheimer's and dementia, assist doctors, nurses, and family with patient care, or help both patients and caregivers, all through a simple swipe.
We also have a feature called How to Get Home, of directions of how to get home if ever they get lost.
The teams pitched and demoed their apps in front of judges.
We made games to help them with their memories and to help.
Executive Rob Astorino, who implemented the competition as a Westchester Smart initiative.
All these kids who are smart, intelligent, passionate, and they're doing something good for humanity.
The winning team, a brother and sister from Soundview Preparatory School, developed an app for a caregiver. Astorino says while it's a competition, all students are winners for creating solutions to help the lives of others through mobile technology. For FiOS 1 News, I'm Lindsay Christian.
So this year the apps will be judged in 3 categories: usability, creativity, and functionality. And there's a set of prizes funded by both the County of Westchester and a number of corporate sponsors. In particular, there's an overall cash prize for the team, and then in each category there are 3 additional prizes. This year they're adding a special category for finance and money apps because there's been an increasing issue with in particular elderly, being victimized by financial scams. And so one of the areas that they added to the process is a way for, is to come up with ideas for how we can help support the elderly in that. Finally, there will also be 2 summer internship positions at Burke Medical, one for a high school student and one for a university student. So those are the prizes and app contest. Our student involvement this year at Mount Vernon High School and Nelson Mandela High School is part of an extracurricular CTE activity club. At Thornton High School, it's embedded actually in a model course that we're doing this year in preparation for the College Board's new advanced placement class in computer science principles. So this will be a class next year, an AP class next year in computer science, which is starting with the College Board, and we're doing the model for it this year. No? Okay. My teams, unfortunately, 12 out of the 16 students have a major AP exam tomorrow, and we're not at all interested in coming, despite the opportunity. So I just want to introduce what they're doing here. We have 4 teams. Team Java is looking at homebound support, both providing an app that will support the caregiver, which is often neglected in this situation, and the patient so as to allow the caregiver more freedom of movement, etc. Second group, Royalty Apps, is intending to provide Alzheimer's support for the patient. Third group, Unix, is looking at providing a diabetes and medication management. In that particular case, one of the students has an elderly aunt who has some memory difficulties, etc., but needs constant diabetic monitoring, and so he wants their group to target that kind of need. And then the third group, Untitled, is looking at nutrition management. In particular, they want to set up a system which makes sure that what the older person is eating does not conflict with medication and that sort of thing. So the person could take a picture of the UPC code and be told, no, you don't want to purchase that because, you know, it won't fit your medication profile. And since they were unable to come, they send their pictures. So those are the 4 teams from Thornton. We do have the teams from Mount Vernon High School here this evening, and I believe Mandela. So let me pass the baton.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello. We're Team Vibe. We're the Mount Vernon High School team. Everyone, and have to introduce
Lawrence Belcher from Mandela High School.
And right now we're focusing on, senior citizens, trying to make a well-rounded app for now, and we're still working on it. And it's great to have more exposure to this. I hope we can continue in more years to come, because we need to focus more on senior citizens, and we need to focus more on their financing, because a lot are going under poverty, and that's horrible, and we want to help them as much as we can.
So the benefits to participation in the program, that all the apps will be made available to the public. So anything that the students develop that finds a utility will be available to the public to download onto their phones themselves. For our students, we're intending to develop entrepreneurial skills. In particular, the focus is to try and develop some what is called computer science thinking. How do you break down a non-numbers problem into something that can be supported by a computer system, mobile communications, etc., develop their programming skills, and put Mount Vernon students on the cutting edge of current technology. Finally, we'd like to thank 3 particular people, Dr. Gorman for making it all possible, both last year and this year, Ms. Cox for providing financial support and encouragement, and Ms. Lopez for managing the logistics.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you. Please give these students a round of applause. I know that we have maybe about 5 or 6 students up here, but altogether, like Mr. Pali said, we have a number of 31 total students between the 3 high schools in Mount Vernon. And this is an exciting, I mean, who has a phone? Who has a smartphone? Raise your hand. Raise up your smartphone. Everyone, right? So go to your apps, and these kids are building these apps from scratch. I mean, they're decorating the logos, they're putting in what color, they're coding. I mean, they're learning so many different things, and for them to have the opportunity to compete with other schools in Westchester County and the other universities is such a great opportunity. Dr. Gorman, thank you so much for hooking up with Ms. Ronnie Cox. She's the president for the Mount Vernon Educational Fund, and she actually brought the opportunity here to Mount Vernon, this city school district, and she said, I'm a judge, and I want Mount Vernon to be a part of this contest, and let's just make it happen. Dr. Gorman, thank you so much again for making it happen. And thank you, everyone, for your support. This Friday, actually, we have workshops where they're going to be meeting people in the industry, such as IBM and, just other people in the industry that are going to teach them about what is going on with their work and if they're heading in the right direction, or just giving them advice. So it's a networking opportunity for them as well. So thank you so much. Michelle Lopez, Mount Vernon High School, Mandela High School, Mount Vernon High School, and Thornton High School. All right. Okay, have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Really
Excellent, excellent.
Look forward to using the apps.
Yeah, I can't.
I'll take it.
The money management part.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so,
A motion to enter executive session.
can I have a motion to enter into executive session?
The purpose of the executive session is discussing matters leading to the appointment of a person or persons and collective bargaining negotiations.
30 minutes tops.
We'll return at 7:15, 30 minutes.
Mr. Rose, I need a second. No, you had the first. You had the motion.
I'll take a second.
Ms. Miller, all those in favor?
Aye.
Convene to public session. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do we have Mr. Zamore? Okay. Motion to approve minutes from
Motion.
January 21st. It's listed in the resolution. Second? You motioned. I need a second.
Aye.
Ms. White. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Motion carries. Motion to approve the minutes from January 20th. That was a special board meeting. Trustee Saunders, Trustee Jaros. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. And motion to approve the minutes from January 5th.
Motion.
Mr. McDowell.
Second.
Mrs. Jaros. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Motion carries.
Okay, so we're going to have
Commu-
communications from the public first? Or
Yes.
We're going to have communications from the public first. We're going to have communications from the public first. Communications from the public first. Okay.
He was ready.
Good evening. Members of the public are afforded an opportunity to speak at all of our public board meetings. Each member of the public is afforded 3 minutes. You must sign up with the district clerk prior to the start of the board meeting, prior to 4 p.m. on the date of the board meeting, via email at rmccormick@mtvernoncsd.org, via phone 914-665-5235, or in person here at the district clerk's office, 165 North Columbus Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York. Our first speaker tonight is Nadia Mondesir. Did I pronounce it right? Ah. I tried. Mondesir.
Mr. McCormick. Hi, good evening, everybody. Superintendent.
Good evening.
Board trustees, members of the school district staff. I would like to congratulate all of you on a job well done in getting the 2020 bond passed. I admire your tenacity and really going to the public, reaching out to the public wherever they were to find them, to present your vision and your plan for the district. I would like to say that I did my part. I talked to neighbors, I talked to friends, and the feedback I got was, we don't want a repeat of the past. So I would like to relay to you that the light is shining bright on you, and it's imperative that you stick to the mission, you stick to your promise, and you stick to what you said. Everyone is looking. There are lots of people looking to say, oh, we told you so, things are not going to be different, the same thing is happening again. So it's imperative that we do what we say we were going to do so that the trust can be rebuilt, we can have faith again in the district, in our administration. So at the slightest hint of something shady or something not what you said is going on, there will be people coming at you. And the superintendent, a lot of people are looking to you for leadership. A lot of people are impressed with what you've done thus far. You're the captain of the ship. You're the one everyone sees. You're the one, has really gone out and put your name out there. So I think you really have to focus that you know everything that's going on. There are a couple of times I've been in the meetings and it seemed like you were blindsided by certain things, and that cannot happen. If people see that, they feel something else is going on. What else are you missing? What else don't we know? What else don't you know? And if you don't know, then we won't know, and we start losing faith, we start losing trust. So I'm just here to say congratulations, and we will be paying attention. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say, Miss Nadia, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce your last name. I'll wait for her. Miss Nadia. It's okay. You don't have to come back up. I just want to say that we as a board hear your message loud and clear, and we stand in agreement with you that the work is not completed now because the bond is passed, but now we have so much more work to do to prove and to gain that trust from the community, to let them know that what we stated we wanted to present to this community is what we're going to bring to the table.
Our next speaker is Brenda L. Crump.
Good evening, everyone. First, I want to congratulate everyone, all of us that were involved in reaching out to our community to inform, enlighten, educate, and empower them with knowledge about the bond. I think an excellent job was done. Many different modes of communication was used. Of course, we can always critique it and do better, but I think we did a great job in reference to the district getting information out. And I do believe that as a result of that, the passage of the bond shows that, because on an off season for going out to vote for anything, people would not have known. So first, congratulations to everyone for that and all the hard work that the staff and the community and all others put in. I have some questions and a couple of concerns, and one is if you will please share the board and or administration in regards to the airing of board meetings. I believe, at least the last time that I looked, which wasn't too far in the distance, none of February's meetings were up. So unless they're up now, the document is there to be quoted, so please don't quote me on that. I always let people know when to quote and when not to. But none of February meetings were up, so that's concerning to me in reference to reaching out to our community. And so I would like the board to speak to the process, the procedure of putting up the meetings. And that segues into a couple is two. So a few of the board policies that I would like the board to look at and review, and that's one of them, because we do have a policy in regards to the recording of the meetings. Also, video conference of trustees participating in the meetings via video conference. I would like the board to review that policy, please, because I know that a notice did go out, but everything is about a timing for the community to be able to, the small line that's put there about them having the right to participate, and we never know who knows where someone is. So I would like for the board to review that policy, please. Also, the policy regarding building use and equipment use of the district. So here is one of the concerns that I have. Major concern is that the fiduciary responsibility and the stewardship of the trustees for the tax dollars for the school and with our children. The use of Mount Vernon High School by our mayor for the inauguration. So I don't want the district to get caught up in city stuff that's happening now, but city council and the controller are saying that they don't pay for inaugurations. And I know that we have some age-old accounts, and that's something else that I would like the board and/or administration to speak to in reference to the age-old accounts and us being paid. People use our buildings and use our facility, and we don't get paid. And with all the bond and the renovations and everything that's going to be going on, like the pool and the auditorium, we're going to have people coming in. So definitely I think that the board need to look at and review the building use policy and the rental of it and so forth, but also the State of the City address. Once again, City Council and the Controller are saying that they don't pay for that. So I would like to, the board to really take a look at these things, and I humbly suggest that the president or whomever you designate and/or the superintendent or whoever you designate reach out to the city and find out what documents from them do we need as backup when approving the buildings for city use to ensure that the district will get paid. I had a very nice meeting with the mayor, and he will be providing, because we've had other community members come up and talk about the trade-off with the city and the school district, so the water and the trash, and exactly what does that add up to. And I think along this line of communication and communicating with the community, they really need to know that and that trade-off. And I'm all for partnership and working with the city, because frankly I think that maybe with PR we need to do something, because both entities suffer from PR. So paper, oil, whatever we can work with, partnership with, and shared services. However, I do not believe that the children should be paying for city affairs, because like the inauguration, that's almost $10,000, and so that should not be coming from our children. And when we are a cash-strapped district and we say that we don't have funds to support everything that our children need. So with that said, will you please address those things, speak to those, and then please look at and review those board policies. And lastly, in closing, and I noticed that on the agenda is the resolution now for Rebecca Turner for the State of the Address, but for the high school, have we been paid yet? So I want to know if we have been paid, and that's about it in closing. But just please look at those things, and if you will address.
Thank you, Ms. Crump.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask.
Oh, I'm
Good
sorry,
evening,
one
Ms.
more thing, just policy along with our policy, but the procedure and process, because I'm just kind of noticing a pattern. I just want to speak on it early, that, because what we say to one, we want to say to all in the building use and the equipment. So in a timely fashion, please share with the community, and let's have some discussion where the community can know what is the timely fashion from the Buildings and Grounds Department at which they want building use forms in, so that they can go through all the proper channel and process to get to the board, and the board can vote, on it in a timely fashion. So will you please also speak to that? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Crump.
Regarding the board policies, we'll certainly take those policies to the committee, the recording of board meetings, the video conferencing of board members when they are not on site, the building use and equipment. I will ask Mr. McCormick to respond to the status with why those meetings that you mentioned for February, why they are not up on the website, and I'll ask Mr. Silva to respond to the aged out accounts and whether or not the State of the City address bill has been paid, because I don't know the answer to that.
No, not the State of the City. That one is on the resolution.
I'm sorry, you're right, the
now.
inauguration.
Oh,
The
yes.
inauguration. Mr. McCormick?
I'll have to look into you and I have spoken about it. I thought they were up there. I will take a look at that. I'll get back to you.
Okay.
I don't have.
Thanks.
My understanding is, as they go out live, is that they are transmitted and uploaded at the same time. That's the way I understood the process to be. But
Okay.
I will investigate and respond to you.
All right, and then, I mean, I'm fine with you sharing the information with me, but the larger community would know, so if you just make note that the next meeting to also share the information with the community as well. And then when the meetings go up, and you and I have talked about this, if we could work on, so we'll know put a date, either underneath it or within the minutes, I mean, within the meeting itself, on the screen it says, but then sometimes it doesn't, and you don't know what meeting date it is for.
And Mr. Silver, some of the aged out accounts and outstanding accounts and the inauguration, was that bill paid?
We'll respond with regard to aged out accounts. I don't know if the inauguration has been paid yet, but this board authorized that anything connected to City Hall, we would charge for all of our out-of-pocket expenses, but not charge for the auditorium itself only. So we charge for everything but the use of the auditorium.
Right,
So
all
we
our
charge
costs.
everything, all of our costs. So we have nothing out of pocket, but we are not making a profit on the city using the auditorium for their purposes. But everything we have to pay, we get paid. And I'll have a report next time as to where that all is.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
I didn't hear the latter part of what you said.
They'll have the report for the next meeting in terms of the status.
The policy committee did have a meeting set up to discuss the issue around receiving payment and what the policy should look like moving forward, but that meeting got canceled, and we will set up to have that meeting to address that policy.
Okay, thank you, because we just don't want to set up, especially with all the renovations and everything, with people using the facilities and then we don't get paid, because we have some elected officials and prominent people in our community that owe the district money, and some of them continue to have venues in our building and have not paid us, and that's not right, because the bottom line, we're taking away from our children. Thank you.
I'd like to chime in on that as well.
I forgot he was there.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. I believe the board made a decision quite a while ago regarding, and Rosemary, I know that you're quite adamant about that as well, regarding getting paid for these uses of our facilities or of the staff before the event, so that we don't have to chase people for money as is customary at present. So, Trustee McDowell, how is that decision by the board being transferred to policy?
Absolutely, because we need to change the policy in order to receive the payment up front, make that happen. So we had that meeting set up, and it got changed. I can't remember exactly what happened, why we had to cancel it, but I have it back on my radar, and we're going to make sure we set that meeting up ASAP.
Now, why do we need a full meeting? Why can't we just have it enacted, just have it written up and brought to the
because the committee has to review it. We have to draw up a policy, has to be drawn up. Then we have to go through the policy of the first reading and the second reading, and then it be instituted.
I spoke to Trustee McCowan about that a couple of months ago, and he was working on it.
Yeah, I think it kind of just got
as
off
we
of
were
our
getting
radar
paid
for a
out front.
second.
So
They'll
that
be
was-
back in town at the
Yeah,
beginning of April.
I spoke to Trustee McCowan about that about a month or two ago, to have all our events paid up front.
Yes, but I am in
So,
complete agreement with
I am
the
agreement.
fact that we should be
We should
receiving
get paid
payment
up
up front.
Okay, so who would write this policy? Is it something that our in-house attorney would write up, or is it something that you or Mr. Trustee McCowan write up? I mean, who's
Actually,
in charge of
our
writing?
policy writers, NISBA, would be doing that. We would explain to them what we're looking for. They would draft one up, present us with a draft. We will review it. If we want to make changes, we would bring that review to the board, see if any suggestions need to be made, present it to the attorney, make sure the attorney look it over, and then it would go back and say that this is what we want to do, et cetera, and then it would be brought to the board once it's finalized, and then we would go through our policy of accepting a new policy in place, which is 2 readings, and then after the 2 readings is
I agree.
implementation.
I think we need a policy to address the policy of creating policies.
Okay, thanks.
All right,
Who's
thank
on
you.
it? We have another speaker tonight?
Mr. Keller?
Mr. Keller here? Thank you, Ms. Crump.
Short executive session, huh? Okay, on the bond issue, do I have 3 minutes and then a minute to wrap up? Go into those?
You're down 5 seconds.
I understand the bond issue breakfast was to inform, but not to push the issue a few weeks ago, because you made presentations to many groups, one of which was the Fleetwood Neighbors Association. You presented in January. Were they invited, by the way? Because I get emails from them to vote for this over the last few weeks. This is the email. Due to the current level of state aid to the Mount Vernon City School District, parentheses, 70%, the bond will result, and so forth. It'd be great if we get 70% state aid every year, but it's about 35%. So I guess they didn't pick it up. I'm sure you didn't present this to them that way, but they're pushing this issue, and it's really incorrect information. Maybe you ought to talk to Michael Justino and Darrell Selsey and all the other people that are on the board of directors of Fleetwood Neighborhood Association that are also on the planning board. Selsey and Justino. Eileen Justino, his wife, sent the emails out. I haven't seen either Justino at a school board meeting as long as I can remember. Michael was at a debate at the church down there last spring.
Can you refrain from using your names?
Okay. The bond was sold, the bond proposition vote was sold to the community as a 75% reimbursement by the state, principal and interest, after the money was spent. But, and I don't have a sample ballot in front of me, my printer wasn't working, I went on your website. But there was nothing in the bond proposition when I voted the other day that mentioned that. No promise to pay, no guarantee, and you know the state, 721 school districts, if all the school districts or any of them issue bonds, they're not going to endanger their credit rating by guaranteeing these. That wasn't a very good way of selling it. And people, oh, 75% reimbursement, that's great, I'll go in and vote for it. And they look and they circle in yes, and they don't read the language. I don't know if it was Cliff, the attorney, or bond counsel, but I imagine the reason it wasn't in there was because if you put it in there, it would have been incorrect. Even a promise to pay. Okay. I think on this, you have the authority now to issue these bonds. I think it's a mistake to convert all the elementary schools to K through 8. You got to do beta testing. You've got to do Pennington, do Graham. There's a third school that does K through 8 now, but don't convert all of them, because what if this grand experiment doesn't work? It's going to be a waste of money. Even when Lenny Sarver brought this up in the late 90s, and then again when he was elected in the 2000s, it was a pilot program. 2 or 3 schools. This is a mistake. Companies don't do this, they do beta testing. And they see the results, and then if they're good, they go forward. If they're not, they cut the program. Employees. Denise, you told me there were 600 non-contract employees, so instead of 2,000, it's really 1,400. I read in the Westchester County Business Journal that there were 1,300 permanent employees and 300 part-time employees.
Mr. Keller.
They don't add up.
Mr. Keller, you have to wrap up.
Don't include the utility tax in the budget being brought up in May. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Keller. Mr. Silver, did Mr. Silver answer any questions?
That concludes opportunity to address the board.
That concludes the
opportunity.
That concludes.
Communication from the public.
That's the way I go.
Okay. Okay, so reports from the superintendent.
Yes, we have a brief presentation this evening, but before we get to that, I have a few comments I'd like to share with the board. First, again, I'd like... What?
I have to make the declaration.
Declaration.
I thought it said superintendent's report. I'd like to first thank the board for their tremendous support and for the countless hours spent educating our community about the bond. I'm ecstatic about the vote of confidence that the community has expressed in the administration and in the board. And I have to especially acknowledge some folks and thank the clergy for their support, the various home associations, the elected officials, including our Mayor Thomas, students who engaged and helped inform our district priorities through the superintendent's focus group, the Teachers Association, and particularly the following folks who deserve to be mentioned by name for giving up so many of their nights and weekends and giving up family time. Deputy Superintendent Dr. Jeff Gorman, Assistant Superintendent Ken Silver, Assistant Superintendent Denise Gagny-Kapusky, Associate Superintendent Jackie Manning Campbell, Assistant Superintendent Waverly Bennett Conroy, our District Clerk Rick McCormick, and our Family and Community Engagement Coordinator Michelle McKitty Bromley, and our facilities persons Michael Policio. Thank you so much for being there every step of the way, and a special thanks for Cliff for pitching behind the scenes for us as well as we went forward with this bond. It has been an amazing journey, and I do want to reiterate that the job is just beginning. It is nowhere near over. It is just that was just the first inning. There's much more to go. Moving on with my report, school is closed next week. Central office will be open Monday through Wednesday. We are in the process of planning our presentation on the state priority list. We were initially planning to do that presentation this evening and decided we did not have all the data we needed in order to do it effectively. But the presentation will encompass which schools are on our list, how they got there, how we plan to get them off, which schools are now off the list, and to give you an update on our appeals to the state, not just Mount Vernon, but districts across the state in terms of the state's process with changing the standard, which made more schools eligible, almost doubling the number of schools that were on the list in various communities. I will also be sharing with you in my weekly confidential some recommendations that came out of the Mandela Committee. As you know, during our bond presentations, we were talking about closing Mandela and keeping Mandela open, but ultimately listening to the recommendations of that committee. And I did share that report at a preliminary meeting with the Mandela community, which the board had not seen, and I was very clear with the public at that point that the board had not seen nor ordained those recommendations. So I'll be sharing those recommendations with you in your weekly, and we will be doing a final presentation once the committee ventures out and visits. They have a couple of schools that they plan to visit as model alternative programs, and then that will finalize their recommendation to me, and then I will be presenting a full report to you in that regard. And then lastly, in keeping with our efforts to be as transparent and consistent with providing information, we have a presentation this evening by our senior architect who will give us an update on what he has been working on thus far.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Dr. Hamilton, Ms. Saunders, members of the board. Dr. Hamilton, I'm really glad that you're feeling very well today, to be here today.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for giving me the opportunity to present this presentation to you. My name is Ljubisha Jovashevich, and I'm a registered architect. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to make this short presentation. I would like to start with announcing my team members, or the people that I will be working with. Peter Gisolfis, architects, the principal, one of the principals is here. His name is Michael Tribe. Savin Engineering, Mr. Steve Spangler is here. He's one of the principals as well. And I will also be working very closely with Mr. Michael Policio, who is in the facilities department, and Mr. Ken Silver, who is in the business office. Just a brief description. I already mentioned to you that I'm a licensed architect, but I also have a certification as a code enforcement official, as well as an OSHA certification. This has to do with the occupational safety and health and administration. As your representative, I will be providing oversight, and I will be working in collaboration with the bond team, the architect, as well as the facilities department. I will bring forth to you monthly reports as we progress through this process so that you can see exactly what we are doing on a month-to-month basis. I will also be reporting to you existing building condition deficiencies, and I will be making recommendations for improvements. I will also be involved in designing and putting together specifications on small in-house projects that are outside the bond. I will be reviewing estimates of consultants and reviewing the bids of different contractors as we proceed throughout the whole process as well. This is a slide that many people have seen as Dr. Hamilton has made his presentations. Again, congratulations on passing the bond. Really excited about that. It all has to do with the Superintendent's 2020 academic vision. We want to enhance the educational programs and services, but I'm really here to talk to you about the bricks and mortar of the project. That is the infrastructure needs. We will also have technology upgrades as we want to bring in the school district into the 21st century and beyond. One of the other things that you see is a small little caricature on the right. It mentions equality and equity. As much as we want to be equal and provide equal things to everybody, there's a building condition survey that was done, and many schools have different needs. Some have more than others, and it will be addressed, and we will evaluate which school has which needs. So not everybody's going to get the same thing. That's where the equity picture comes into play. Just a brief overview of the schools. You know what they are: Thornton, Parker, Trapp Hagen, Lincoln, Hamilton, and Williams. Grimes, Columbus, Benjamin Turner, Graham, A.B. Davis, and Rebecca Turner, Pennington, Holmes, Mandela, and the Mount Vernon High School. This analysis is based on a 2015 building condition survey that was performed by the district architect. And in that analysis, I'm just going to briefly touch on the main viewpoints. And you will see, as time goes by, the exterior envelope and roofs and all these other line items will be developed and analyzed for each individual school. The exterior envelope has to do with facade repairs, repointing of the masonry, chimneys, doors, and windows. The roofs, obviously, some of them will need to be replaced in their entirety. Others will have to be repaired and patched. For interiors, we have work in auditoriums. That work will be consistent with seating, flooring, stage, lighting, draperies, things of that nature. The gymnasiums will have new flooring or refinished flooring, padding, and different types of equipment. Classrooms, we're going to have new science rooms. Toilet rooms, from staff to children's toilets, will receive new fixtures, accessories, as well as finishes. We'll address the corridors, doors and hardware, and lockers throughout the schools. Also going to address code compliance and safety. We're going to take a look at the asbestos and hazardous materials such as ceilings, flooring tiles, and pipe installation. We're going to talk about accessible toilets and routes, fire-rated partitions in doors and corridors. HVAC stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. We're going to be looking at replacement and/or repairs of ventilation exhaust systems, toilet rooms, exhaust systems, AC water treatment programs for cooling towers, mechanical ventilation at gymnasiums and auditoriums. On the plumbing side, we're going to be either replacing, adding, or renewing outdated toilet fixtures, drinking fountains, sewage ejecting pumps, sump pumps, I'm sure this all sounds very exciting.
It does.
Domestic hot water heaters, removal of oil tanks, etc. On the electrical side, we have quite a bit of work to do with main electrical switchboards, branch panels and panel feeders, replacing old branch circuits and wiring, exit and emergency lighting, equipment and conveying systems, fire alarms and detection systems, public address and intercom systems, as well as clocks and fire stopping. On the site analysis, we're going to deal with repaving parking lots, dealing with curbs, as well as restriping those parking lots and signage throughout the district. Traffic, we're already going to be starting to do some traffic studies for bus routes, cars, as well as pedestrians. The walkways, steps, and curbs throughout the district are in disrepair, and we're going to try to do our best to fix all of them as soon as possible. Fencing, I'm sure that everybody sees in Mount Vernon. The fencing is a big issue. We want to get away from that type of look. We want to allow access for everybody. We don't want to have children not be able to walk on, you know, a grass or something and put up a fence to give them that description. We're also going to deal with retaining walls,
Excuse me.
athletic fields, football, baseball, track and field. All of the sports will be addressed, especially at the Mount Vernon High School. We're going to deal with playgrounds and equipment as well. So now that the bond is passed, what are the next steps? So we're going to get together with the lead architect, Mr. Gisolfi's office, and Sabin from Construction Management, and we're going to analyze these building condition surveys. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we're going to take a look and see what was proposed, and we're going to evaluate as to which school is going to need what's going to be the priority, and how we're going to attack this. Summer projects, we're going to start out with the Graham site work. We're going to do a new roof on Thornton, and other roofs will be starting repairs right away. The exterior envelope, repairs, repointing. Of course, this causes water infiltration to the buildings, so we're going to address those issues as soon as possible. And curb appeal. Sometimes just a simple power wash can do miracles. We're going to evaluate the code compliance and safety analysis of the individual schools. We want the kids to be safe, and that is the most important thing. And also, we're going to rewire all the schools. You want to be able to walk in with your iPhone or your iPad or whatever device you happen to choose and be able to go wireless and do whatever it is that you need to do, whether it's classrooms or just being out on the ball field. We want to bring that accessibility to everybody. Additional projects this summer, we have the energy performance contract with Honeywell. All the schools can get new boilers. And when I say all, I mean every single school. We're going to be looking at new windows and doors at the high school, new ceiling and light fixtures. We're going to move into LED light fixtures, get away from the fluorescent ones. We will be immediately addressing A.B. Davis, Hamilton, and Traphagen. We're looking at a big toilet renovation project at the high school as well. And Graham and Parker auditoriums are going to be an immediate project starting within the next couple of weeks. The pool and the gymnasium as well at the Mount Vernon High School are in the process of getting started ASAP. So we've already started. We got a head start, and I'm very proud and grateful to be a part of this team. I think that the people that you see in front of you and the people that are working behind the scenes are here because they want to be here and they want to make this a success. And I will promise you that I will do my very best to make this a success. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that concludes the superintendent's report for this evening.
I think we can go right ahead to the agenda item. You want to do that?
Can, sir.
I'm sorry, Rick had a,
There's one more presentation.
ooh.
Jared.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry, we do have another presentation, CTE. I'm sorry, Ms. Ward. Where's Ms. Ward? Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry, thank you. Sorry about that. That doesn't conclude the superintendent's presentation. Ms. Ward will be doing our presentation this evening on career and technology. She had her budget defense rounds last week, and I asked her to bring some information not related to her budget, but information about how the program has grown in just a year under her leadership and the amount of interest that has been generated and the number of students who are looking to really take advantage of our career and technology program. And then Rick, you'll do the declaration.
Good evening, everyone, honorable board members, superintendent, community members. I'm so happy to have yet another opportunity to tout the wonderful things that are happening in career and technical education. Whenever I have the opportunity to do so, my name is Sherry Ward. I am the administrator for career and technical education for the district. Whenever I have the opportunity to be able to give you some insight into what's happening into CTE, I'm very happy to do so. Okay, I wanted to give you some insight into some of the wonderful things that are happening outside of the district in career and technical education. Oops, it should run.
Things are changing so fast you can barely see it, that's all.
Okay, all right. Well, it's just talking about all of the great technology that's happening, looking at things that are happening in the medical field, looking at things that are happening with construction, etc. And the goal is that we want to go in that direction with our career and technical education program here in Mount Vernon City Schools. But what I wanted to share with you is that we're not necessarily just looking at good things happening outside of Mount Vernon. We're looking at some really outstanding things that are happening inside of Mount Vernon. So if you would take a moment to look at some of the data that I'm sharing with you, the data that is being shared reveals some really awesome things about CTE and Mount Vernon right now. We have an increase in the number of courses that are being offered to students within the Mount Vernon City School District, and this has been exponentially increased over the course of just 1 year. We right now have the highest enrollment for the past 4 years. If you'll look at the data, you'll see that we have the most students enrolled since probably 2011-12 or 2012-13, which is a really great thing. We also have CTE course participation that has increased by about 25.5%. So that's a huge thing. That is saying that students are very much interested in participating in career and technical education. We brought back our nursing program. We have our culinary program now operating once again. And students are very happy and they're participating in these activities. Actually, there's a call for more. If I could do some after-school things, they would jump into those things too. But it's increasing. The information technology area, with all of our IT classes, that has grown at the greatest and at the fastest. So here we have an increase of 122 students from last year to this year who are participating in IT and being able to be computer literate, computer savvy. So that's an increase of 36.4% in our program. So we just really wanted you to see that there are some outstanding things that are happening in our CTE program, and we have a great growth projection scheduled. We're going to be pretty much holding the course for this year and next year. We increased some classes. We added in things like Cisco networking, the nursing program, the culinary arts. We have a barbering program now, and we also have our working citizen program operating. However, we look forward to 2017-18 being able to bring in our carpentry, that's the pre-engineering, our electrical, our HVAC, and our plumbing. So thank goodness we received our bond today, and we look forward to having those funds to take us into the next era of CTE in Mount Vernon. Okay, these are partnerships that we have. Our partnerships have really been outstanding. I have to give thanks to all of these different organizations who've been working with us to make sure that we're able to extend opportunities for students within Mount Vernon City Schools. We have Access VR that has been steadily working with us. We have the Wartburg that we're sending a lot of our nursing students over to, and they're doing their practicum time there. We have the Strong program that has been working hand in hand with us. The Chamber of Commerce has been giving us internships for our students, the Youth Bureau, and we also have been working with One Stop in Mount Vernon. So it's not something that we've been able to do alone, but we've been able to do this as a collaborative effort with a lot of the organizations that function within Mount Vernon. And we're seeing the results happen as a result of it. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Ward, we have a question.
It's very nice that you have those 6 organizations that you're working with. How about corporate sponsorship? Do you
We
have
would
any?
love to have more have other corporate sponsors come in. As people come in, they present themselves to me. I start to work with them. So just like the Wartburg presented their idea of having our students go in and do their practicum there, then we started to work with them. If other organizations come in, then we're more than willing to have that conversation.
Have you gone out to?
Unfortunately, in my department, there's 2 people. There's myself, and I have an assistant, and I have a transition counselor, and I also am doing CDOS and Access VR. There's just not the capacity for me to go out and do that work. I would love to be able to go out and do that work, but I need to have more manpower.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just noticed you had 6 up there, but do you just not consider partnerships with like the hospital? I believe the hospital, we receive
I
services
have
from
sent
the
letters to
hospital.
them. They don't do it because it's something, a liability issue with students under a certain age.
Oh.
So I have sent letters out to all of the hospitals in this area. So we only had limited centers or places that would take our students at the age that they are. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay.
And we have a declaration from our district clerk regarding the elections.
Good evening. It is hereby declared that the bond vote has been tabulated and has produced the following results: 2,243 yes votes to 658 no votes. The final count is subject to verification by the County Board of Elections, who is in possession of 149 outstanding ballots. Those ballots will be counted and the tabulation finalized. However, it will not affect the final outcome of the bond's passing. The bond is passed.
Woo!
Couldn't hear.
Give the numbers again.
2,243 yes votes to 658 no votes, with 149 ballots outstanding.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
I would just like to thank the community for the support for the bond. I just want to make sure that everybody knows how excited we are, and the light is beckoning, as we know. So with that, we're going to go ahead and do the consent agenda.
There are 2 items removed from the consent agenda this evening. 14.1 is the authorization for an agreement with Alicia McDowell to serve as parent liaison. 14.2 is the approval for the 2015-16 non-certified substitute teachers and teaching assistants to work 40 days, and for certified substitute teachers and teaching assistants to work as needed. Those have been removed from the consent agenda and will be voted on as separate items.
Okay. See you 14.2.
I would also like to move to pull some items from the consent agenda.
Okay.
Items 10.5, Fuller and D'Angelo and EPC-related work. Items 10.7,
Mr. Zamora, hold on.
asbestos.
Mr. Zamora, hold on 1 second. We need to bring the video up to make sure. We have to be able to see you. Mrs. Zamora, your video is not coming through.
Still not, huh?
Nope.
What technical difficulty we are having. The only thing I could probably redo is probably reboot my computer. But for now, before I do that, I could probably just give you the list, and then I could reboot my computer and attempt to re-log in.
Can we do that, Cliff?
I don't believe we can.
Yeah.
Mr. Zamora, in order for you to participate in this part of the meeting, the people here in Mount Vernon need to be able to see you as you need to be able to see us.
Okay, great. So in that case, so I will attempt to re-log in. So one of my colleagues, the board president, can choose to read those items from consent agenda so we can have a discussion. 10.5, 10.7, 10.8, and 11.5. And I will attempt to reboot my computer and log in.
Okay. 10.5, we're going to remove
Okay, so he said 11.5.
10.5, 10.7, 10.8, and 11.5.
Correct.
All right. And I'm just going to verify as I'm doing this.
Read them.
The numbers, are you looking to remove the authorization to accept Fuller and D'Angelo Architect for energy performance contract related work, or the change order number 7 for Pennington Elementary School?
No, that's the Full and D'Angelo EPC related work.
All right.
I know these numbers change every time you guys make changes to them, so I'm not, I believe this was the last change, but you could correct me if I'm wrong.
That's 10.6.
10.6.
That's 10.6?
And there, 10.7, authorization for Eisenbach and Runke Engineering for abatement and reconstruction at the Education Center.
That's correct.
And 10.8, authorization for Fuller D'Angelo to proceed with the Holmes Elementary School unit ventilator replacement.
That's correct.
And then 11.5 was authorization for Eisenbach and Runke to update district's AHIRA asbestos plan.
That's correct. There's just, after a careful review of these, there's some serious issues that we need to review, and I would like to have the in-house architect
Trustee Zamora.
review as well.
Trustee Zamora, we can't do
Yes.
that, and your face is not present, so we're just going to pull those to, can we pull them to vote on at another meeting?
We could do that.
There would need to be a motion.
But is it a question for the department first as to whether or not it would hurt it to pull these for another vote, for another day?
Would it hurt to pull them for another day, or do we have to vote them tonight?
The AHIRA resolution can wait.
What
The
number is-
resolutions, if we don't pass these will jeopardize our doing the work in this building during the summer, which is associated with the energy performance contract. We will not be getting the plans from Fuller and D'Angelo that are part of this for Giusalfi. The boiler replacement in this building during the summer will be jeopardized.
So we may have to go back into executive session.
Possibly.
Okay, all right, so we'll pull them for now, we'll vote on the rest, and then we'll go back into executive session and talk about these. Okay? Is that okay with everyone?
That's fine.
And for the record, the resolutions are being pulled by the board president, who is here and present
Yes.
from consent.
Yes. Okay. All right, so let's move on to the other
All right, so the approval of the consent agenda as presented, minus the 5 items removed by trustee Saunders and the 2 removed before the meeting began.
Motion.
Trustee Miller,
Second.
trustee White. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Mr. Zamora is not present for the vote. Motion carries. All right. Do you want to do the...
Do the other 2 items?
Just
the
the
other
other
2
two items.
Authorization and authorizes an agreement with Alicia McDowell to serve as parent liaison.
Motion.
Trustee Miller,
Second.
trustee White. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Mr. McDowell.
Mr. McDowell.
Abstain.
Oh, thank you, sir. Motion carries. 14.2, approval of the for 2015-16 non-certified substitute teachers and teaching assistants to work 40 days and for certified substitute teachers and teaching assistants to work as needed. Motion?
Motion.
Trustee Miller,
Second.
trustee Saunders. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Abstain.
Abstain.
Motion carries with Mr. Zamora not present and trustee Saunders abstaining.
And before we move on, there is a tenure candidate in the audience tonight, Mr. Idris Squatiri. Did I get that right?
Oh,
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Pardon my if I mangled your name.
Yeah, a little bit.
That would be a lot.
Well, correct me so I'll know next time.
I'm sorry?
Correct me. What is the correct pronunciation? Oh, I was way off.
One more time. One more time.
Yes. It's Edides.
Adidas.
Adiris.
Adidas. I prefer Adidas.
Adidas.
There you go.
Well, welcome aboard. Congratulations.
Welcome.
You want a motion to move into executive session?
We're going to go in executive session last. We want to just do the committee reports now?
Sure.
Okay. So we're going to go over to the committee reports. Mr. McDowell?
No committee reports at this time.
Parent and Community Engagement Committee, I do have to thank everyone on the committee for getting in the boat and rowing on the bond. There's a lot of time spent. I'd also like to thank our Audit Committee Chair, Charmaine Farron, for walking the streets with me for a couple of weekends. So she's an honorary committee member now. Our next meeting is going to be March 31st at 8:30 a.m. And at that time, we're hoping to set out an agenda for the balance of the year, which will also include the backpack giveaway event and other things that we need to address and get moving on quickly. Thank you.
Ms. White?
Our CNI meeting was held on March 3rd, and we had a presentation from Envision, which is a math program that we're thinking about adopting. It's been piloted in 3 elementary schools already, and it's very favorable by the teachers that have piloted it. A lot of good reviews on that. Anything else? We had Dr. Gail White Wallace. She gave us an outline on the Black history, on American history, American African history, and showed us where it was infused in our ELA and also in our social studies program from K through 6. There will be a lot of projects being done through those 2 programs, the ELA and the social studies on Black African American history. I also attended an iReady presentation that was fantastic. It showed that our children are really working. It's very important that they work at least 45 minutes on the iReady to increase their skills in supplementary work. So if you have children or you're a teacher out there, try to get your kids on the iReady as much as possible. And maybe you could do homework or if they have computers at home. And with the math and the ELA. I also attended the PD for the Mount Vernon teachers to watch teachers training teachers, and that was fantastic. Everyone I spoke to was very happy that teachers were training teachers. They can sympathize with them because they're in the classroom, they know what they're dealing with, and so it's a very great program, and I hear we're going to be training more teachers to be doing the teacher training teachers. So that was fantastic. I spent about 2 hours up at the high school that day, and it was just wonderful to see how teachers are engaged with their own peers. So we had a great time up at the high school, and our next meeting is scheduled sometime in the March. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. White. Anything else?
From the audit committee, just that our internal auditors are almost ready with their report. They've sent it to the administration, who's responded with their comments, and it'll come back to us shortly.
The Wellness Committee met this evening, and we discussed about the vendors for the vending machines at the high school. And there were five companies that responded to the RFP. 2 of them did not comply with the regulations, and 3 were chosen as top contenders, and they will probably be approached. The top one will probably be approached within the next week or so. Also, we were discussing about having children work in the food lab. Trustee Saunders,
Yes.
Since the idea came from you principally, do you want to illuminate us on that?
Well, Flory Page, is she here?
I think she
Well, we
might.
talked about having children, that we have a culinary class, and we also have maybe some children that are maybe interested in learning how to purchase food on a low budget. So we discussed having a healthy low budget. So we discussed having kids come in, maybe a $10 or $15 budget, and figure out what's the best meal choices and to feed a certain amount of people. So she's going to do some research, and we're going to try to figure out how we can get some kids involved and engaged in that. So more to come on that, okay?
That's good.
All right. What I have is, I met with Rocky Ayanello. I believe I pronounced his name right. He's a gym teacher. Actually, he was my daughter's gym teacher 20 years ago. I just met him, so. But anyway, we are starting Special Olympics for special ed, and we're going to call it the Pioneer Sports League Special Olympics. I'm going to give Rick a copy of the dates for the Special Olympics Games. We have 10 children signed up so far. There were permission slips and notes sent home children, and we only got 10 yeses back. So, and we have a nurse in the district that would do the physical, so we just encourage some parents to get involved again. So I'm going to give Rick this, and he's going to put it on the website. It shows dates of the games, and we have Bobby Semino is going to be kind enough to let us use the bus. You didn't know about that, did you? No. So we're going to get this started, and we're going to have some fun with these kids, and we're going to go on to in June. From now, actually, it was a game on the 15th, and it goes up to June 1st. So we're going to put this on the website, and more to come with that. Okay, and we're going to have a special. Oh, they're held all over. There's one Mount Vernon game, but all the other games are New Rochelle, Yonkers, they're all over.
Local.
Okay, it's going to be on the website. And then our next special ed meeting is going to be at Rebecca Turner, I believe, April 7th, okay, 6 o'clock. And we're going to have resources, and we have some really good resources out there. So please come, okay? Even if you don't have children in special ed, please come. And that's all I have, and I'd like to make a motion to go back into executive session.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? What's the purpose?
The purpose is to discuss items that are on the consent agenda.
Contract.
That's not a closed session. Chris, we need some direction. No, I think it's...
No, it's off my head. It's,
10 point something, so go to the 10s.
no, he's looking for the POM, I'm sorry, he was looking for the
Oh.
matters related to the health safety.
Are we still negotiating with, so we can matters associated with negotiations, private
The
contracts?
matters associated with negotiations and private contracts. Did I get an amen?
Amen.
Okay.
How much time do we need?
15 minutes.
That's perfect.
That's okay.
Okay.
Shouldn't take longer than that.
Business, right?
That's it. Shouldn't take, and then we'll come, yeah. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Who would-
Leslie, can you hear us?
Yes. You can't-
Yes.
He's muted.
Yes.
I can.
We can read
Jill,
lips.
unmute him.
We can read lips.
Rick, am I allowed back in your meeting?
Yes,
Thank you.
Oh. All right. A motion to approve the items that have been pulled from the consent agenda. Item 10.6, authorization to accept Fuller D'Angelo Architect for energy performance contract. 10.7, authorization for Eisenbach Runkey Engineering and Abatement reconstruction for the Education Center. Authorization, 10.8, authorization for Fuller D'Angelo to proceed with the Holmes Elementary School unit ventilator replacement. And 11.5, authorization to hire Eisenbach and Runkey to update the district's AHERA asbestos plan.
Motion.
Second.
Trustee Miller. Trustee Saunders. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'd like to make a statement regarding regarding those agenda items to the public, that we sought clarity on these items, and we now feel very comfortable that these items are, should move forward, and that's why we voted on them.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there any unfinished business? Okay, motion to adjourn?
I have a committee report.
Oh,
You did that already. You missed that part of the meeting.
that part of the
Hold it for
agenda.
next time.
That boat sailed already, right?
Exactly.
Anybody second the motion?
Second.
Okay.
That's fair. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstain?
Any opposed?
Leslie, that don't mean you get double the time next time.
Motion
Have a
carries.
good night.